All right, everyone, thank you. Let's go ahead and get started here. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon as we talk about how MessageGears empowers you to consume and benefit from real-time data access. Just a quick introduction. My name is Nick Ziech-Lopez. I'm there on the left. I'm a product marketer here for MessageGears, and today I'm joined by Adam Fenwick.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I'll be taking you through our solution to show some of our real-time events in action today.
Excellent. So a quick introduction for what MessageGears is and who we are. MessageGears is a customer marketing platform. It makes it easy to use and really utilize your data. So we have 3 products here that we're showing on the screen. And the top left segment allows you to understand your customer base through using your data. This is creating advanced audience segmentation with drag and drop capabilities and then exporting them to whatever third parties you might need to. We then have our message product that we're going to focus in on today. This is the ability to use your data to define your audiences, create and powerful messaging, and then reach your customers wherever they are. Finally, engage at the bottom is a product we have to make data access easy and consumable, allowing you to power messages after they're sent out through open time personalization or any number of uses for data you might have. All of this is powered by your own internal data warehouse at the center, unlike many other tools that need you to sync or copy data up to their cloud. So what are some benefits of real-time data? Well, I'm just going to give you 3 really quickly here, but the first one being don't waste moments by having data accessibility and applicability right there to you. You're allowed to have a continuous journey with your customers, never missing the moments or skipping beats where data is outside of your control. It allows you to be self-reliant because you are able to get and consume that data. You are able to not need another system to be the system record or not need another company to basically hold on your data. And it allows you a true view of the customer. So there, having all of that data for all of those audience interactions allows us to really have that customer 360, see everything that all of your users doing. So the problem that we're really solving for here, and I'm just going to go through it in 1 or 2 slides before Adam shows us the product. But brands have been centralizing to modern data warehouses, making data access easy. And the issue is that the tools that they're using for messaging for their communications are disconnected from that data. So both in getting data to their ESP as well as getting data back from their messaging partner takes time. The landscape is mostly on the left there. A lot of these remote ESPs or larger marketing clouds require data replication, syncing, and want to store your data and eventually become your system of record because getting that data back to you is difficult. Now, on the right-hand side there, we have data like, or send infrastructure, things like API-based tools that allow you to send emails. But the issue is they only offer webhook-style interfaces to retrieve that data. So it typically, more often than not, requires large IT projects to actually do anything with that data. The MessageGears solution allows you connects right in on the left side there to your client data sources. So we are directly connected to your data behind your firewall, whether on-premise or in your private cloud, and then is able to send up only the data necessary to send messages there on the right to our cloud. But as you can see at the bottom there, in everything we do, we are constantly sending you back the real-time events that Adam's going to talk through today and make it easy for you to consume, handle, and then use them to power your other workflows. So Adam, what are we going to be doing today?
Sure, thanks, Nick. So what we're going to do today is we're going to walk through a couple of examples of campaigns that you might want to send out, and then how we can utilize our real-time event feed to take any of those metrics and interactions that your customers are having with messages, be able to reutilize those and capture those so that we can actually target more precisely, and then see how we can also use those in other areas outside of our message platform as well.
Sure, and I understand what you're going to walk us through today is both a little bit high level and a little bit technical.
Yeah, so we will be looking a little bit high level on the marketer side, and then we will jump into what it looks like from the database side for the technical audience.
As we get into it today, I just want to say, hey, feel free to ask questions. This would be great to be more of an open back and forth, and I'm sure that Adam would appreciate that as well. A quick question that we already have, before we get into the demo, is how we're different than other CRMs. And the answer is that, you know, most sessions are like we said in the slide before here, most tools are going to need you to copy your data over or sync data up. MessageGears here on the left is going to plug directly into your data. So whatever database that's sitting in, however you're powering your data, we will plug directly in and work off of your flows. And then today we're going to show you how to get those real-time events back. I'm going to go ahead and stop showing my screen here and give Adam the ability to walk us through. Adam, let me know when you're up and ready.
Sure, give me 1 second here. All right, so let's take a look at message and walk through a quick example of this. So what we're going to start with is a welcome email. So think about a campaign that you want to send out to a customer who perhaps they just came onto your website, has signed up, created an account, signed up for a newsletter, and we want to send a message out to them. So we're going to do that here. So I've already got my audience set up. Now, in most cases, this is going to be a situation where perhaps this is running every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, and requalifying audience members. I can come over here and actually refresh my audience. So that will go and collect all of my recipients that qualified to be able to see this. Now, that's giving me an error here for just a moment. So let me refresh this one more time and make sure that we are all connected up here. Okay, so we have this here. So this actually just refreshed to 29 recipients. So that's fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this campaign. So I can do that by coming over, clicking on launch, confirming that, and now this is going to send that out. So I see my campaign of just 29 recipients here. That's going to go out and be delivered. Now, I'm actually sending this to myself as well. So I see here in my inbox, this was just the message that was received. So I can click into this, I can view that, see it's even personalized for me. But this is that welcome email that we just sent out. Now, as I'm looking at this, something that we're doing on our side is we're going to be capturing any of the interactions that our customers are doing with our messages. So that could be just that open that I had. If I had links that I'm clicking on, those can all be captured and delivered back to us through the real-time event feed. So let's take a look at how we can actually utilize that real-time event feed to capture those. So I'm going to come back into my environment here. So what we have going on here is our real-time data feed allows us to take all of these different activity types that MessageGears provides back to you, take these and consume them back into our customer data warehouse. So we can use those and track our customer interactions for use across all of our different campaigns. The one we're going to be looking at today is our open activity. So that's where I'm going to click into now. And this does get on the technical side, so keep that in mind as we're looking at this. But I have a trigger here that we're going to take a look at. Now, this is an example of capturing an open for one of our customers. And what we're seeing here is that we're just simply doing an insert into a table. Now, that's not the only thing that you can do. You can also update records. You have full control over how you want to handle this. So think of a situation where perhaps not necessarily an open, but taking an unsubscribe or a bounce, you could actually update an existing record with that information so that you're marking those customer records appropriately, keeping that full 360-degree view of your customer as you're doing this. Now, if you want to make any updates, you can come over here and simply edit this. So it gives you the ability to also send this wherever you want to. So you can put it inside of your internal data warehouse. If you have another solution that you want to put that in, you can do that there too. But you can make any updates that you want to here. And then we're going to actually show an example of what this activity does. So I'm going to come down here and click on test. And what this will do is actually process a sample of one of these opens. So this is going to actually go into my campaign opens table, insert a record there, and then I can go and actually see it there. So we're going to hop over into the database now and see what that looks like.
And while you're doing that, a quick question that came up is, well, and I'm paraphrasing here, but Can you do other things than insert records? I think I see that you're making a table there, but how do you join to other stuff?
Absolutely. So because we're bringing this into your internal data source, you have access to this as well as all of the other interactions that you're collecting. So think of things like web interactions, any types of clicks that you might get from other sources. Even if you're bringing in things from interactions of social media sites, you can bring those all together and into your customer 360 view, have that as a holistic view of your customer, and then be able to join against all of those so it's more enriched for your customer data set. So it's not just a matter of inserting, but you can do all sorts of triggers and other things with this as well.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So what we see here now is I come over into my open table, and if I scroll down here, actually, I can see a sample of what is inserted into that table. And here we see that information, and this is the record that was just inserted there. So I see that my connection there is there, it's working properly. Now what I can do is actually be able to take anything that happens from an interaction point, such as anything over here where I opened up that email, process that, and that should feed back directly into my data source. So let's take a look at that over here. So we see here, I just did a quick update on my open table. And we see here we have this recent timestamp. This is the actual open that occurred of my message. So this is taking that welcome. I opened up that message. I'm recording that back in. Now, because we're recording all of these different opens, what we can do is use that again in another campaign. And we're going to see an example of that here next. So I'm going to come back over into my campaigns. And remember, we're setting this up from the example of we have someone who came on to the website, they signed up for that welcome message, we took that interaction, we sent them out a message real quick. Now what we're going to do is understand that they have opened that message, so we have engagement with them. Now we're going to send them a flash sale immediately because we have direct access to that open right now. So this is what we see here in our next campaign. Now, again, in most cases, this is going to be scheduled or linked together through an orchestration. So you can have this running on a constant loop and always sending out to the most qualified recipients. But what I'm going to do is right now we show 0 recipients in this audience. Let me go ahead and refresh that now that I've gone and done that open on my side.
And real quick, I'll stop you there, Adam, because we're actually getting a few questions about what you're doing here. So more towards the nature of what we're doing here, do we have an API? When you inserted that record there, was that like, do we have an API into a CRM database? And how are we seeing that in the audience here? How are we connecting to that data?
Sure. So what we're actually doing here is because we are connected directly to your data, we're just reading off of those records. Remember, we have a direct connection to your data source. So we don't necessarily have to do this through an API in order to leverage this. Now, we do have the option of transactional messaging too. So anything that you want to trigger through an API call, we have that available here too. But these here, we're just really doing direct data connections through our audiences to be able to qualify recipients based off of any audience rules that you have in place. And we're connecting all these pieces together through that direct data connection.
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
So we see here now that in my flash sale, I have the 1 recipient that opened that message. So now I can target that recipient. It happens to be me. So what I'm going to do is send this out. Now, what's really important about this and what pieces all together is that we have immediate access to this real-time event feed data. So what that means is we're not having to wait for it to sync into another system. We're not waiting hours until we get this data back. No, we're feeding that directly in. So even though I just received that welcome email, I clicked on it, I opened it just as we saw here in real time. Now I can action against that and send out a new campaign for something like a 2-hour flash sale. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this as well. Confirm that. So this one's going to send out now. This will start going, and we'll take a look at some of these job analytics here in just a moment. But that's going to end up delivering directly to me now in my inbox. So if I come back in, take a look at this, now I see I have that new message here. I can click into that, and here's my 2-hour flash sale. So I'm able to leverage that real-time data, be able to get these messages out that may be a little bit more time sensitive, but also allows you to take advantage of that engagement while you have it. So you're not waiting, there's no lagging period of time where you might be losing that engagement from someone. Instead, we can harvest it and take advantage of it right now.
Getting a few questions here, actually, just kind of on that fact. So the first being, I understand that MessageGears is not a CRM system, but can you tell me a little bit about how maybe what you're doing here could link with a CRM system, or the kinds of either outside of email type of activities you might want to join this to, like a use case there?
Absolutely. So yeah, it's absolutely true. We have lots of different ways that you can actually use this and harvest this data. So one of those is also through our segment products. So let me hop over there real quick and let's take a look at that. Actually, I might already have it. Oh yeah, I do have it pulled up over here. So we have a segments as well. So when we walked through what we just did in Message, what we're doing is we're linking things together to be able to trigger campaigns to send out those emails, those push notifications, or SMS. But here what we can do is take it a step further. So if you think of it this way, because we are connecting all of that information together, utilizing our segment tool, we can also take advantage of all of those interactions. So what we can do here is start with our starting population. This could be our entire data set if we want to, and we can start breaking it down based off of all of those interactions that we are pulling together. So this first one here, I can even put labels around this. If I click on this here, I can put segment IDs, I can start appending information. So I could look to see whether or not they had a web visit today. If they haven't, then I can start looking into other types of engagement, such as whether or not they had a click on an email in the last couple of hours. If they're not clicking, are they at least opening them? So we can take that holdout group here of no clicks and look at those and say, have you opened those in the last hour? And be able to actually bring these together. And even greater than that, we can start appending information on here. We can have counts of everything. And then any of these that we want to, all of these segments that we've created, we can utilize these as well within our external campaigns to be able to send these to other endpoints for additional targeting, such as Facebook or LiveRamp or Airship or any of those other destinations that you might want to deliver those to.
Okay, so that's, I can see how that works outside of the messaging product. And we're getting a few other questions. I'll start with one, but they're a little bit all over the place. You're showing that we can insert data into databases. Are those the only analytics that MessageGears provides?
No, absolutely not. So we have additional analytics as well. Let me hop over here and let's take a look at a larger marketing job here so that we can see a little bit more of the analytics. So we've talked about opens, but here are some of the others that we actually provide back to. So this is a larger job here. This is over 37 million that we see. But what our analytics allow you to do is to view your deliveries. We have those opens and clicks. And when those come back, we can do total opens as well as those that are unique to a user. So that way you can understand the differences in those totals there. We also have attrition numbers. So any complaints or unsubscribes that are coming back, any bounces. And then if you're applying suppression as well, you'll see those as well here. We do some additional things for display purposes. We show that performance over time, so you can actually click through the different metrics and get different views of that. And then here's a really cool one, our top domains report. What this does is it takes all those metrics and breaks it out over the top sending domains for your campaign. This really comes into play when you start thinking about things like deliveries, where there are a lot of clients who they are really concerned about making sure that their messages are getting to their customers. Those deliveries are really what matter. So they can actually visualize here how those deliveries are performing at all of those domains here as well. So we do provide those back. We show those here through the dashboards, but the real power of it comes from being able to take all those real-time metrics, just like we saw, being able to take those, put those back into our customer data warehouse and really take advantage of those there to connect all of our customer interactions together to really understand that full 360-degree view.
Sure, okay. And then I've got a fun one that I think is a little bit outside of the real-time data, but could you tell me a little bit right now, what is the one thing that makes the product that we're looking at right now different from another ESP? And is there like a page in the platform or somewhere you could show me that just says, hey, this exemplifies the difference here?
So there's a number of things here that really take advantage of this. So number one, we have direct connections to everything. So we are going to be able to connect directly to that data. We're not storing that data or doing anything else with it. We have our segment tool, so that gives you the ability to really get in here and take an audience and break it down, be able to deliver it elsewhere. And the additional thing that we do have is our Engage tool. So Engage allows you to take all of this real-time data and actually provide it out there to an endpoint to be able to even power more additional real-time personalization for your customers. So you can do that through campaigns as well as through websites too, and be able to connect directly to all of that.
Is there any, you had mentioned that direct connection to the data. Could you show me as an example, do we have a page here you could show that? I know that we had started a little bit on the campaign screen. Could you, do we have an example of an audience made from direct connection data, or even how you made that audience that identified yourself earlier?
Absolutely. So we can take a look here in our audiences section here. So just so you can kind of understand exactly how that's going to look and how it's going to operate, we have a few here. Let me actually connect one up here so we can take a look. So here we have a, that's not even a good example. Let me grab another one here real quick.
No problem. And I know we're putting you on the spot there, so.
Oh, that's all right. So what we can do here is be able to take advantage of direct data connections, actually be able to pull in, be able to pull things together and understand exactly what's going on with our data sets. And that way we can actually trigger off of those. Now, additionally too, we actually have a couple of other views that we can do this through. So our orchestration view is another great way to do that. We have one here where we can come in and actually look at like opens and clicks. So we can see this from a different view too. Now this one here, this is going to take kind of what we saw within segment, but also be able to deliver other campaigns out the door, and based off of whether or not they've opened or clicked off of their previous campaigns there. So you have that ability to be able to really piece these together.
Sure. While you're on the screen, it might jump you around a little bit, but could you show a little bit how recording that open information and then any of the other information you'd mentioned, click information and like delivery information, how can you use that to either create like a propensity model or really get into contact optimization?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you really start thinking about how that data comes back into your warehouse, because we're piecing all that together, what you can really do is start actually utilizing those to make sure that you're optimizing your contact outreach. So for an example here, as we're going through this, if you want to be able to trigger off of things, whether or not they've clicked, you can send them one message versus another. Same with opens. What we can additionally do is start combining that with other pieces. So if you start thinking about propensity modeling, everything that we're delivering back to you, you can bring that into your own data models to be able to actually model off of that, and then provide things like promotional scoring or perhaps likelihood to purchase, things like that. You can start calculating those, and then because you're storing those in your data warehouse, you can tap into those things as well. Same goes for anytime that you're starting to really outreach and work with customers, you also don't want to blast them with constant bombardment of messages. So you can also bring in thresholds so that if they have a certain number of touches over a time period, that you start throttling down exactly how many. So you're not actually blowing up their inbox, but instead you might only want to send them 3 to 5 messages per week. You can actually put that into place as well. All of that comes from that backend data. So with those direct data connections, we can actually piece all that together, take advantage of those, and then all of our clients can actually take their own modeling as much as they want to and be able to incorporate that rather than having to fit it into one single data model.
Excellent. We're kind of coming up on the bottom of the hour here. With a little bit of time. Can you give me any real world examples where a client of ours has done this? I know that we've been pretty limited to opens in this example, but speaking of just how easy it is to get real-time data, was there any example of that where really move the needle for a client? I know you're closer on the implementation side, so that's why I'm going to you for this one.
No, yeah, absolutely. And this is actually one of the things that our clients love about our platform. So an example is car rentals. So what car rentals can do, obviously they rent cars, but what they'll do is they will take whether or not someone might want to be renting a car, they might find searches in particular cities, also based off of different particular time frames. They can actually pair that with their pricing data so that they know exactly when prices are going up, prices are going down, and then based off of any of the interests that their customers have within their data sets. So it could be whether they prefer a sedan or a pickup, or they like exotic cars. They can actually take all of that pricing information, all of the city information, also those time frames. Then they could send an alert based off of price drops. So if they know that during this time you've gone on, you've done a search, we're going to send you an email that says this particular model of vehicle that you were looking to rent, that's starting to go down in price. And then on top of that, what they can do is based off of the engagement data for that outreach, they can even take that and send a follow-up if they want to. So a number of hours, 4 hours later, they could send another one that says, you want to make sure that you rent this car before it's all sold out, just to give them that urgency, or something even of, oh, our new sale is going to end at midnight. You want to take advantage of that, even though it may not actually be at midnight, but it takes advantage of all of those different interactions that you have, that you can really optimize how you're sending out data, and you're not waiting for that data to get back to you.
Okay, thank you. I know you guys get on the road more often than I do, so you typically have more powerful stories. And then just the last question, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but could you give me an example of like a transactional message, or like what that looks like in our platform?
Absolutely. So the transactional campaigns, they are separate from the marketing and the orchestration. So think of something like an order confirmation and password reset. Now, the nice thing about this in our platform is a couple of things. Number one, those transactionals, they are going to be triggered through APIs. So you can actually get those out the door immediately. It also goes through separate sending infrastructure. So there's no, if you have bulk campaigns that are also going on, those transactionals are going to get straight to your customers in real time as soon as you need them to. Additionally, for the marketing side, the great thing about this is that you can actually build the templates with our content builder and then be able to promote that to the cloud. So you don't have to go to the IT team to make updates to templates and be able to get those out the door. So if I knew that on our password reset, we need to change something in our company footer, or we have some additional information that we need to put in there, I can go into my template, make that update, and then I can come up here and re-promote that template so it's available immediately as soon as it's needed for that next transactional campaign call.
Excellent. Well, I don't know if there's anything else in the platform you'd like to show. We're about out of time. If anybody has any final questions as we wrap up, please let us know. But that's about it. Any last thoughts, or anything left to show on the platform before we hang up here? I will take that as a no. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in today, and I hope that you found today's session informative. If you have any questions or thoughts, please let us know, and feel free to reach out to sales@messagegears.com. Until then, my name is Nick. Thank you so much, Adam, for showing us the platform today. It was a lot of fun to see it in action.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, to tune in, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you.